All right, good morning. 8 o'clock on the nose. Look at that. Woohoo! And I remember to record. And did I do the
Super.
right step on? We are live, right? We are live. Do you see us live?
We are live.
Streaming on Facebook. Did I remember all the
I see
steps?
it.
Okay, cool. Cool. I'm telling you, these challenges of technology. So happy Monday, everybody. Welcome back for another chat over coffee, clarity over coffee with Susan and myself. I'm always so happy. Oh, Cynthia just hopped on. Hey, good morning, Cynthia. So nice to have her here.
Good
So
morning.
how was your weekend, Sue?
It was good. We were just talking about the fact that I didn't even know it was Easter, other than the fact that I kept seeing Easter posts or whatever popping up. And I'm like, I don't feel like posting Happy Easter. I'll just send it out to the universe. It's like, and we were just talking about these holidays. Can we just not
Yeah,
celebrate every single day of the year? I don't even
yeah.
celebrate my birthday is coming up and I don't even remember, right? Because every day is my birthday. If I want to
Every
go do
day.
something, I'm gonna go do something.
It's it's true. We put so much pressure on the one day. Yeah, I'm just gonna plug me in because I think I'll hear better. There we go. How's that? Yeah,
That's good.
yeah, that's better. So yeah, we put so much pressure on one flipping day, and then it just becomes very commercial, and it becomes about the gifts or the money or the chocolates or and it's like, yeah, you're absolutely right. We should just be embracing holidays every day. But I guess it's one way for people if they do forget, it's kind of brings them back to center to remember. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know. It'd be good, interesting to hear people weigh in on that. What do you think, folks? What do you think, Cynthia? Is it is it a good idea to celebrate one day, or not? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know what? There's nothing wrong with celebrating one day as long as you continue the intention throughout the year, right?
Yeah, I
You
love
can
that.
make every day a little bit more special than the day before,
Mm-hmm.
but you gotta the mindfulness. This is what I was thinking about this morning, actually, because I was thinking about posting something on Facebook where it's like, can you please define mindfulness for me? Because I'm not joking. I go out there and I see everybody talking about mindfulness, but no one is practicing it. I'm like, okay, well, let me just ask them. Do they even know what it means?
What is mindfulness? Yeah, there's a
Because
good question. Let's get some clarity around mindfulness.
yeah, because we get addicted to the idea of these words. Wow, that sounds good. I think I'm going to be
Yeah.
mindful. I'm going to focus on mindfulness. Can we actually define what it means first? Or spiritual? I'm so spiritual. No, you're not. Right? It's
Yeah. I'm
like it's.
awakened.
I don't
I
think
have awakened.
I'm
I very
aligned. Oh my God. We fall in love with these words, and it's the idea of what the words represent that we fall in love with. But if you're not practicing it, then it means nothing.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So mindfulness. So let's get some clarity around mindfulness. I know that
Yeah.
you are a master of the mind. You've been studying your mind for years and breaking it down to the most simplistic of ways to navigate your world. So mindfulness. So how would you describe mindfulness?
Well, it doesn't mean fill your mind up with shit. Like, seriously, I know the word means mindful, but it doesn't mean fill your mind with
Oh,
shit.
yeah, full of crap.
It's actually the absolute opposite, right? How
Mhm.
do we clear our mind?
Right.
It's by being mindful. So, being mindful is understanding the purpose behind what you are doing.
Okay. So understanding the purpose behind what you are doing.
Yeah. And
So
why?
so
So, the
before
why,
you act,
yeah,
stop and consider, what is my intention? Why am I doing this?
it's actually more what is the ripple effect of what you do?
Oh, okay.
Because that's the why, right?
Yeah,
Don't we do things because we're trying to be a better person for the world?
right,
Aren't
right,
we doing things like you're really environmentally conscious because you're doing that and you are that because you care about the ripple effect
right.
of that
Yeah,
action, right? That's
that's right.
mindful, right?
Right.
So why is half the world more than half? I'm being nice.
Yes,
Why
you
are
are.
there so many zombies? And
Yeah,
we were talking about this weekend.
we
Why
were.
are there so many zombies? Right?
They're walking around like the living dead. It's so true. And especially, I saw it very, very clear in the corporate world. Every Monday it was, just kind of empty eyes going like, is it Friday yet? Oh my God, is it Friday yet? And I thought, oh, and I'd say to them, like, why are you wasting your week? Like, what is so important about Friday that you can't do today? So yeah, yeah, bringing some mindfulness when you just even waking up in the morning, great way to start, I find is that clarity or that moment of when you wake up and you just say thank you, bringing in that gratitude, asking, okay, show me the next step, just being aware of where you are. It
Yeah.
can,
And so if you bring the mindfulness, Cynthia's mindfulness is being in the present moment.
mm,
Again, that's another term that we all say, present. What do we do with the present moment then? Like, so we're given these instructions on what to do, how to be,
right,
right? But then the mindfulness has to kick in.
right.
So the how you bring yourself into mindfulness is, okay, so I'm in the present moment. So what?
Yep.
Right?
Now what?
Yeah.
Now what?
Yeah, it's like I'm in the present moment. I feel the wind. Okay, on with the next. Like, what does that moment bring you?
Right.
Right? That's
Right.
being in the present moment. Like people, and it's funny because you see it in the corporate world. I saw it in the corporate world for sure, but I accept that in the corporate world because that's just the way it is, right?
It's just the way it is. Yeah.
But in the personal development and industry,
Yeah.
within the self-help industry, are the zombies because that's where we come with too much information. We
Yeah.
become zombies,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So mindfulness is being aware of yourself and what is going on so that you remove yourself from the outside noise and be mindful of what's going on in there and offload what you don't need to continuously.
Yes. That's the key.
Right?
Yeah. It's not a one-shot deal. It's not for like 5 minutes a day. It's a
Yeah.
continuous. Yeah. Constantly offload. Be aware. Come back to center.
Yeah. So if you wake up in the morning and you're like, I'm mindful of this moment. So why does it matter?
Why does it
Like,
matter?
what is it doing? Like, we forget to go to the why. So even gratitude, I take it to the mindful level. So if I'm grateful that Sherry is in my life, when I just say that to you, it only goes so far.
Hmm.
However, if I go into mindset mode and I say, I'm so grateful Sherry is in my life because she's one of the very few that checks in on me to see
Hmm.
if I'm okay,
Hmm.
because there are very few people that actually do that, right? So I'm mindful of what you do. It's not
Right.
just empty zombie words. I'm thankful you're in my life. Yeah, so is like 10,000 other people in my life too,
Right. Right. Oh
right?
my gosh. Yeah, that's good. That is so
Doesn't
true.
it make a difference?
It does make a huge difference. Yeah. And I like taking that even a further step, about being mindful about our own actions. We used to come across this back to the corporate world for a second when we would have, say, our annual reviews, and you had to write out how you did that year, and how were you a superstar, and how did you perform. And that was hard. Almost no one liked to do it. Almost no one could do it. It was painful to kind of look at your own performance. So that's corporate, but I think it's something that we should be doing our own report cards on a personal level. What do I do as a human being that, that makes me a 5 star today? Like what did I do? And I think bringing mindfulness to that would be a game changer for so many people to really look at their actions, look at their words. Are they in integrity? Are they lined up? Because you could babble off all you want by the mouth, but if you're not walking your talk, then what is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really
And
key.
half the time we don't even know what our talk is.
Yeah, just a whole lot of blah blah blah.
So you can't walk your talk if your talk is off. right?
Yes, that's right. That's right. Exactly.
So if you want to become mindful in that moment, the only time I really think about the mindfulness is when I'm struggling with something,
Mm,
right? So at that point, I'm like, hold on, stop. Like, what's going on? What is really going on? Because you can't fix something if you don't know what is it that you need to fix. So stop fixing everything to try to hit the mark. It's like throwing spaghetti on the wall, hoping one of them will stick,
good analogy. Yeah. Yeah. A whole
right?
colander of spaghetti. It's like, okay, what's going to stick today?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can't do that. You can do that in your 20s. You can do that in your teens. And then you hit 30s. Okay, you can still do a little bit. And 40s. And by the time we're 50s, there's no time to
Yeah.
waste with the spaghetti. We become harder on ourselves.
Right. Right. So when we have a colander full of spaghetti, I like this. Okay. So let's going down the clarity road now. So we talked about that too on this weekend. And so the question is, so when you have a colander full of spaghetti and you don't know what the hell's going on or what's going to stick, what's not, you've got too much noise, too much muddleness. So the answer is clarity. But when you're so muddled, how do you get to clarity? And you had a really great 4-step, I think it was 4-step process to help people get to clarity. And
Yeah, well, first you got to remove yourself from the noise,
right,
right? Because it's when we're muddled from the noise that's in our system, not the noise outside, right?
right,
The
right,
noise.
because that's always going to be there. Yeah, we can't control that.
Yeah,
You're
and
right. But when
one of the classic noises that people as women we bring in is everybody's opinion that we've asked,
mm,
10,000 different opinions, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Never mind social media. Forget that. That's a monster in itself. That really social media is all self-serving, by the way. Everybody says they're trying to put out messages to help everybody else. No, they're on their own therapy. Like, so that's the way it is, right? But why do we ask 10,000 people?
yeah. Well, we do because we don't trust ourselves. We have not learned how to sit in our own silence to hear ourselves answer because we have the answers within.
Yeah,
Every single one of you out there have your answers.
yeah,
But we run around asking everybody, can you tell me what to do? Can you show me what to do? Can you tell me what the next step is? Can you tell me who I'm supposed to be when I grow up? Can you show me what my purpose in life is? We forget
yeah.
that we have this, like we're magicians ourselves. We have the answers, we know, but we've forgotten along the way.
Yeah. So stop asking everybody because you're not going to
Yeah.
do anything with it. And when you do
Yeah.
something about it, you're going to be taking on somebody else's strategy for
Yeah.
you,
Yeah,
right?
and then you can't assimilate it in your brain. I know if you're right brained and left brain and you're trying to move strategy over to maybe the creative side, and then you're really muddled. I speak from experience. I
Yeah.
raise my hand on that.
Because
Absolutely.
now what you've added is another level of muddleness, which
Yeah,
is kicking yourself
yeah,
from doing something that you didn't want to do anyways, because you didn't even know. So
right.
it's like, oh my God. So yeah, remove yourself from the noise. Either you take yourself outside of social media. Don't try to look for another quote to help you find an answer, right?
Yeah,
Like honestly, it's a dopamine fix, right? That's all it
yeah,
is.
yeah.
So, or the only times I ask people for their opinions is when I've already pretty much made up my mind,
Yeah, that's good.
right?
That's good to do a check-in with a few people that you really
Yeah,
respect
yeah,
and who know you, and you check in and get their opinions. And some will be for, some will be against, but that's good too to see both sides because then it really helps you nail down your final decision.
yeah.
Yeah,
And it doesn't matter who you ask, right?
right.
I generally do not ask people that are judgmental anyway.
Yeah,
Because
right,
what they're
right.
going to do is judge you and then give you an answer that's not even, they don't care how you're going to behave.
Yeah,
So I don't ever ask anybody that's judgmental. And if I do, I want to see what they're going to say because maybe there's a gold nugget in that shit anyways. Because I follow modern alchemy. Have you ever heard that term did I ever tell you modern alchemy?
modern alchemy. Oh, there's a great term. So
Yeah,
I love
people say, what
alchemy.
do you do? What do you do? And I'm a modern alchemist.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
And
you
so
are.
I was asking Kevin the other day, do you know what modern alchemy is? And he gives me a definition on like, you know, on an old
Alchemist, yeah, turning
yeah,
steel into gold.
metal to gold. Yeah, well, I turned shit into gold.
Yeah. Yes, that is you. You
Give
are
me
the
a pile of
alchemist.
shit, and I will find the gold nugget in there. I don't try to cover it with strawberries and whipped cream. No,
No,
look at the shit
you've got
and
to look
turn
at
it
the
into
pile.
good. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that's what true positivity is. Is true positivity is you're not scared of the shit.
yeah,
You are looking at it without stories or emotions to look for the lesson and the gold
yeah.
nugget and then that's the only way you can release that shit.
Yes, absolutely. Now that in itself is a golden moment right there, Susan,
Yeah.
because yeah, a lot of people they they're so attached to their stories that they don't see the pile for what it is, and it just is a pile. It's just, when you get out of your story, it is there's so much more discernment and so much more clarity because you start to see the shit for the shit. That's all it is.
You can't you because even if you don't want to look at it and it's covered with strawberries and whipped
Yeah.
cream, after all these piles of shit around you in your house, it's like a landmine of shit piles, right?
Yeah.
And then you get
Going
nervous
off.
because you don't know which one you've totally ignored. Talk about lack of mindfulness. You
Yes,
cannot be mindful and ignore the shit that you have to deal with.
that's right.
So there's nothing worse, and I've seen coaches do this all the time when their clients are expressing their shit that they're rolling around in like a pig in shit. They're like, don't focus on that. Let's focus on the forward. Let's focus on the future. It's like, no, can you let your client just express the shit?
Yeah, yeah,
They
yeah,
see it and you're trying to tell them to not see it. And
yeah,
this, welcome to the world of personal development.
yeah, yeah.
You can't ignore what you feel.
That's right. And the only way to move through it is by the alchemist. You've got to transmute it. You have to transform it. And the only way to do that is to go through it.
Yep, you have to understand
Yeah,
it.
exactly. You got
It's
to
the
get
way you
into the
understand
middle.
yourself. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the muddle, right? The muddle is I don't understand myself. I'm ignoring myself. I'm not listening to my feelings because everybody's telling me that I just need to be positive, but I don't fucking feel positive.
but I don't feel positive. Exactly, exactly. And you can't do that quantum leap from here to there if you're not feeling it. So how do you get joy? Well, it's not by just snapping your fingers.
Yeah,
You've got to go through it. You've got to transmute it.
yeah.
I was listening to just a quick little interview yesterday with Rhonda Burns, who was the author of The Secret. And then she came out with a second book called The Greatest Secret. And that was as a result of she still didn't feel quite happy, even though, she knew, found out all, the secret, right? So she was talking about the greatest secret, and that, and a lot of yogis and great masters have taught us this. It's about understanding and knowing yourself, period.
Yep.
When she said, when you know yourself, and that goes back to even know thyself, right? I think that was, Jesus's main message in the world as well. Just know thyself. So how do you know thyself? Well, the only way to know yourself is to sit in everything that comes your way and understand why and how is this serving you. When you start looking at it from those different angles of like, okay, so let's get out of the story of, oh, poor me, and this was done to me, and I was rejected, and wah, 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 wah. It's like, okay, look at what's going on. Well, how did this come to you? How is this serving your highest good? I find that helps me a lot when I start taking that higher ground and looking at it, say, okay, so what am I learning from this? And I always get a nugget, and I always feel like it's sort of like that level up in humanity. It's like, oh, now I get it. And once you get it, you never go back because it's like you can't unsee something, you can't unknow something. So that, yeah, that is certainly really key. Is part of knowing who the hell we are is sitting in the shit, moving through it, getting
Yeah.
out of our stories. Yeah,
Usually it's very simple. Everything is really simple, right? Not
yeah,
easy, but simple.
yeah.
It's really simple. When there is shit and we're feeling bad, it's because we're ignoring ourselves too much,
Uh,
right? So it always boils down to, so, the first step is, well, remove yourself from the noise. And the motherboard is burning. The motherboard is burning. There are too many apps on your computer. There's too much information saved. Your memory is going downhill, right?
wow, that's
So
good. Good
yeah,
analogy.
Yeah, your RAM is like the processing unit is fried,
You're
right?
about to crash.
Yeah, you don't
Yeah.
add more stuff on a
Right,
motherboard that's frying.
right.
But we don't get that because we're on the hamster wheel of dopamine, right?
Yeah.
So, and dopamine means I need to go ask another person because the 20 other people I just asked didn't give me an answer.
It
So
didn't give me the answer that I know inherently that I want to hear.
yeah,
You know,
because
that's
now
the
you
thing.
piled it on with so many other
Yeah.
people's
And
freaking stuff, right? So removing yourself, but then when you remove yourself, you're sitting there. It's like, okay, I'm in the muddle. So what?
yeah, now what? Yeah.
Right? And we start with, okay, so it's almost like the analogy of going into your car and you're going somewhere. You're going on a
Mhm.
road trip, which is to you, to your heart. So your
Right.
heart is the destination, right? So you have your GPS machine on your phone, right? So,
Yeah.
because we don't go anywhere without GPS these days.
That's right.
And so there are only two parameters that we need to enter into a GPS machine, right? Well, the one parameter we enter, but there are two parameters that we need for a GPS
We,
machine to work,
yep.
for the navigation unit to work. This is your intuition now that we're working with. So what's your destination? So you're feeling muddled and you're feeling stressed and you don't know what to do. Well, action only requires two steps. It's either you go or you stay.
Yeah. Do I stay or do I go now? Yeah,
Like,
very
how
true.
many more
Absolutely.
layers can we add to that?
Yeah,
Action and lack of action means you're not moving.
yeah.
So the opposite is move,
Move.
right?
Yeah,
So where do you want to go? Like,
yeah.
what is it that you want? What are you not happy about? Like, what is it? You know, what is it that you're feeling, right?
What are you feeling? Yeah,
And
that's
what you're
key.
usually feeling is, I need to stop asking everybody or looking for the answers outside,
Yeah,
right? So it's time to talk it through with yourself.
yeah.
And it always anchored on, so what is it that I want? Do I want to be a coach? Do I want to find clients? Most of the time, clients, I mean, especially if you're running a business, if you're not, bringing in revenue, if you're not bringing in clients, it's because you don't want it.
Yes,
So why
exactly.
don't you want it?
Right,
Is it
right.
because you don't feel like you're good enough? Is it because you don't feel like people will buy whatever you're selling? Is it because if you're not going to go for that raise, if you're not going to go out and ask for that raise, is it because you don't feel like they're going to give it to you? Like,
Mm-hmm.
what is going on?
Mm-hmm. Get real with yourself. Get real with your thoughts because they're there. They're back there.
Yeah.
But up in the fore part of our brain, we're thinking, well, that it's forward motion. I should ask for that raise and I should be this and I should. Well, we end up shoulding ourselves more than actually doing what we want. So yeah, get out of the shoulds and sit in, well, what is it? Maybe you don't want to do anything this month. Maybe you
Yeah.
don't want to be a coach. Maybe you want to run a cookie business or
Yeah.
follow your heart. Yeah.
Maybe you just want to bake cookies. I do
Yeah.
that all the time. It's like, maybe I just want to vacuum. So I'm going to go
Yeah.
vacuum.
Yeah.
And you know what? It might not seem productive in the grand scheme of the zombie world, but for me to vacuum and wash the dishes by
Ah,
hand, it is my meditation. It's where I
yeah.
don't need to process anything. I am just moving with the motions. And it's my way of releasing all that processing and giving my motherboard a rest, right?
Nice.
And isn't that productive and a half? That's what we call filling up our glass, right?
Yeah, doing something just and the monks understood that they would wash a floor with a toothbrush. And why are you doing that? Because I'm meditating. It's like one square at a time. It's I do that too with dishes. And really get mindful with the bubbles and the temperature of the water, and I love doing that with cooking, all the colors and the vegetables,
Yes.
and it's like
Isn't that
it's
amazing?
yeah, you put on some good music and you're just yeah, that's your moment and you free up that motherboard.
So, mindfulness, to practice mindfulness is be totally one with monotonous,
Mm,
right?
be one with monotonous. Oh, that's a good one.
Right? Be
Okay,
one with
yeah,
them. Don't judge yourself for the
yeah,
monotony. You need that to fill your glass up, right?
yeah,
And Cynthia says, what about feeling? Of course, we have to feel it through. And if we neglect our feeling, it's neglecting our heart's desire.
Mhm.
Our heart is always telling us what the truth is. It's like, can you please listen to me? Like, why are
Yeah,
you listening to all these people that really don't know me? Right.
that's right. That's right.
And so we have to stop. And that's the only time. So, and this is the thing, we also don't want to get addicted to feeling bad because then we're always
Oh my
trying to
gosh,
fix
feeling
everything,
bad. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Right.
So go into the feeling. This is mindfulness on steroids. Go into the feeling, always mindful of the intention that you want to get out of the negative feeling by finding answers, right? So go through the feeling with a light at the end of the tunnel, not go into a hurricane of feelings and then you start feeling sorry for yourself and then you get addicted to feeling sorry and then there you go.
Mm-hmm.
So the mindfulness is always understanding your purpose. Why are you doing it?
Why are you doing that? Yeah, such a simple question to ask ourselves, and it's probably one that we don't use very often. Why am I doing this? It'll come up. I've seen it come up with myself when, I love to be there for the kids or help people. But if I start feeling a bit resentful, feeling stressed because I'm running out of time, I've used those, that's my red flag. Okay, something's off here. If I'm not doing it altruistically, if I'm not doing it from the heart because I really want to, if I've got these feelings, these little negative niggling feelings of like, oh my God, then, okay, I've got to stop. And that's when you learn to say no. And that's something, especially in our 50s, we have been so used to output. We're so used to doing for others. And we've ignored that inner voice going, but what about me? Maybe I just wanted to read a book. Maybe I just wanted to nap. Maybe I didn't want to run that carpool one more time but we don't listen. So in our 50s, especially, got to stop and listen to our feelings of what serves us. Why
Mhm.
are we doing it? We're doing it from our heart, or are we doing it because we're people pleasers and we just want to be liked? There's a big one to really get
Yeah.
real about and truthful about.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it's a huge one. It's a
Mm,
huge one. We do things to be accepted. We do
mm-hmm.
things to belong, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, as women, we've been doing that all our life. If you have
Yeah.
kids, there's a
Yeah.
danger of programming where we're just running for everybody else. We have to. Our kids depend on us. But how do you stay mindful of staying with your own heart while you're doing that? And
That's
that's
right.
where mindfulness comes into play. It's like be mindful that, okay, hold on, I'm running around for everybody else. I need to take that moment for me to re-anchor myself to me. But
Yes.
we don't do that if we're not taught to do that, you see?
Yes, exactly. Exactly. So, for you 50s, 60s out there, start teaching the younger generations, teach the 30-year-olds who are going to have the babies of the next generations, it's not selfish. It is self-love when you take time for yourself. It's a selfish, and like we've got to recoin that word or something, because there's nothing wrong with being selfish,
I know.
as long as it's not, hurting others, let's say. But we've got to take our time for ourselves. We really do.
Well, there's nothing wrong with selfish because especially if you're selling fish, what's wrong with that, right?
Selfish.
So all of a sudden we have this negative word, I sell fish.
Yeah. I selfish by the seashore.
You know what? Yesterday I was going through an exercise with my 7-year-old Jude, my
Mm,
nephew,
that's so
and
cute.
we wrote out a recipe, right? Because he felt sorry for Auntie Sue because I don't do the Easter egg hunt, right? Because we didn't grow up with that. In the Chinese family, the only Easter eggs we're getting is like some cheap Easter egg made of fake chocolate. So, anyways,
Yeah.
so my nephews called me to wish me happy Easter, and they had all these
Oh.
eggs in a basket. And then when I showed them an empty basket, they're like felt sorry
Oh.
for me. So, but I was telling Jude because I'm teaching him confidence, right? Because
Mhm.
he's so in the heart, and the moment he feels judged, like even an ounce of that energy, he'll lose it, right? Because he
Oh.
feels everything. So I created a recipe. I said, well, let's bake a Jude cake, and
Oh.
and we're gonna how do I duplicate you, right? And then we made a Jude cake. So I said, 10 cups of love, with
Oh,
5 cups of, happiness,
oh,
and 2
what a cute
tablespoons
idea.
of intelligence, and
Oh
5 tablespoons of fun.
oh
And
my
so
God.
that's his cake, right?
That's
And
his cake. Oh, what a brilliant idea, Sue. Oh my God, that's so cute.
so he ran to get a piece of paper to write
All
out that
right.
recipe because he wants his mom to put it in her recipe book.
Oh, adorable.
But he said we
Adorable.
we can't bake a jute cake because he's a twin. So what about Reed? And I said, well, it's gonna be a double-decker cake. And he's like, oh,
Oh,
he's like in the bunk bed because he always sleeps on top,
oh,
right?
brilliant. So they've got their
So
cake together.
you know what? Bring yourself back to simplicity by having a conversation with kids.
Yeah, that's true. They're so smart. Oh my gosh, it brings us right back. Yeah. And staying in touch, getting back in touch with the child within each of us is like so important to our happiness. What did you want to be when you were a little girl? You had dreams, you knew the world was yours
Yeah.
until you started getting beaten down by, you're not good enough, you didn't pass that test, you'll never make that team, blah, 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 blah.
Well,
Yeah.
one of the
Oh
posts
gosh.
that I lined up for a scheduled posting is Einstein's quote, and I don't know if it's really Einstein's quote because I don't know who knows, but creativity is intelligence with fun.
Oh, yeah.
And so when Jude was writing it out, he doesn't know how to spell anything, right? Because now he discovered that C and K have the same sound. The poor
Oh,
kid.
that's so confusing. And not
So
always. Sometimes a C is an S. It's really screwed up kids.
I'm telling you. So, but he said, well, Auntie Sue, I'm not going to spell. I'm going to, tablespoon was too long. So he goes, I'm going to draw a table and a spoon. And I said,
Oh,
okay. So rather than forcing him into the linear,
yeah.
that's his beauty, right? He's creative. And so many of us just stop them and force them to write it in words, which is fine. I'll let school do that.
Yes.
But that's how he
Yes.
communicates, right?
That's smart.
And
Oh, what
we've
a cute.
lost, yeah, that we've lost that part of us.
Yeah, we have. And then to take it a step further as adults, we get so judgmental on ourselves that we would get critical about how we drew that table or how we drew that spoon. It's not good enough. I'm not good enough. Yeah. Anyway, we could keep going on. It's already 8:32. I can't believe how fast this went. So just to recap, clarity is about stop, ask yourself why. 2, set your GPS. You've got to know where you are and where you're going. And where you're going is your heart. Get out of the noise, get within. You have all the answers inside you. Feel them, move through the shit. Don't go around it. You got to go right through it in order to blast it out. There's no shortcuts.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
that's all it is keep focused on what is it that I want?
what do I want?
What do
Yeah.
I want? Right? It
Yeah.
doesn't have to be a big dream. Just what do I want next? Like, what
Yeah.
do I want? I want to stop and just do nothing. Okay, so that's what you want.
Then do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Take a day off.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, thanks everybody. Thanks, Sue. This is
Thank
great.
you.
I'm gonna yeah, we'll cut the live and we'll see you on Wednesday. Come on back, same time, same channel. And I'll stop the recording.